big headlines in news tell us that you can build image recognition with just 5 lines of code. And searching for ice cream in the photo gallery of your phone can find results from years back without the grueling task of tagging all of your images. If effective media management is the question, is AI the answer? We are so lucky to have Radmila and Janniche from Photoware actually here with us today to answer that question. They will illustrate the value gained with use of AI and machine learning in management of large collections of photos and videos. Janniche is head of the product division at Photoware, and Radmila heads the customer and partner division. And with that, I give the word to our presenters.
So, with new AI technology available, we can transform the way we work with digital asset management. The technology is here.
Yes, but the generic AI doesn't always solve the problem. We need to put the customer in the center in order to solve their problems.
Yes, you're absolutely right, Radmila. And when we train the AI to the specific customer case, then we can really create value. So, my name is Janniche and I'm the product director at Photoware. I will take you through some of the new AI technology used in digital asset management and talk about how it can create value and increase the value of your organization's digital assets.
And my name is Radmila Stoltz, and I'm the Customer Experience Director in Photoware. And I'm going to get you dive into some great customer stories where AI has really generated great value, but also some where AI was not really a match.
To understand how AI and machine learning can increase the value of your assets in digital asset management, we need to start with the core concepts of digital asset management, also called DAM. An easy way to understand what DAM is to think of it as your organization's centralized content hub for all visual media files, your one source of truth for all these files. In a DAM solution, you can easily and efficiently store, organize, find, share, and collaborate on these files. And also, DAM solutions let you build automated and advanced workflows that streamline manual work and often time-consuming work processes. The result is that more time can be spent on creating value from your visual media files and turning these into assets that are valuable for your organization. In early days, an asset would typically be an image or a video, and keeping control of what assets you had and where you had them and where you could find them was quite easy. But in today's content-heavy digital landscape, an asset can be images, videos, animations, PDF documents, presentation, Photoshop files, and more. And the number of assets in an organization can easily amount to hundreds of thousands and even millions. And with this development, we see a large increase in time spent in organization just administering these assets. But administering an asset does not increase the value of it. Hence, the need becomes stronger to find solutions and work processes that let you spend time on your value-adding work. So, what is value-adding work when it comes to digital assets like images, videos, and presentations? What is it that makes an asset valuable? Most importantly, you have to be able to find it. So, an asset that no one in your organization can find, well, it obviously has no value. And secondly, you have to be able to work with the asset. If not, well, then you cannot create value from it. So the easier an asset can be found and worked with, either by yourself, in cooperation with your colleagues, or used by another system, the higher value the asset has. And how do we make an asset easy to find? Well, the number one answer to that is metadata. So metadata is data that provides information about other data. More easily said, it's data about data. In digital asset management, metadata is keywords and descriptions about your files. They can be descriptive metadata, such as naming objects that are visible in an image, structural metadata, such as animal ontology, and administrative data, such as usage rights. The value of your assets is directly tied to the quality of your metadata. With poor data, it doesn't matter how great or valuable your assets are. They will not be searchable and findable. And as I said earlier, the consequence is that they have no value for you and your organization. So working with enriching your assets with metadata is a core concept in digital asset management, and it can be a very time-consuming task. And this is where AI services can be a really powerful tool in digital asset management. These are services that can extract information from assets, turn that information into structured knowledge, and enable new experiences when exploring the assets. And Radmila will go through some of those experiences afterwards. But let's look at some of the AI services that we have seen give value in digital asset management. So the first service I want to talk about is image analysis. These are services that process images and return information based on defined visual features. These could be finding all the faces in an image, determining if an image contains mature content, evaluate colors, detect objects, and describing an image. This also gives the possibility for doing automatic image captioning, making the content of an image accessible for far more people, and for instance, people with reduced eyesight. One challenge that we know many meet when they work with manually adding metadata is that we often don't think of data that can be valuable to add to an image. For instance, what mood or emotions the faces in an image express, or what background color is in an image. These are data that can be extracted by using image analysis, and they can increase the value of your assets. The service that is probably best known is facial recognition. And these are AI services that detect, recognize, and analyze human faces in images. In addition to face verification, other face-related attributes can also be extracted. For instance, head pose, gender, age, emotion, facial hair, and glasses. For even more value, one can train AI to recognize a custom set of people, for instance, a group of people belonging to the same team in an organization. And I have to admit that personally, I was very glad when I ran facial recognition on an image of myself, and I turned out to be only 35, so that must be true then. Another service is the analysis of audio streams. These are AI services that transcribe audio streams to text in real time, and they also translate the text into other languages. As we all know, written video and audio files are replacing written presentations and images in large scale. So this service can therefore be of great value to many organizations because it makes the audiovisual content accessible to far more people. For instance, those who do not understand the language in which an audio stream was recorded, or those with reduced hearing. The last service I want to talk about is automatic tagging. This AI service automatically tags the asset based on the extracted information, for instance, which objects that are identified in an image, or if an image is taken outdoors or indoors, and so on. In companies that scan large amounts of images every day, for instance, newspapers or retail companies, this service can dramatically reduce the manual work put into tagging, while at the same time increase the value of all the assets. Another challenge that this service can help to solve is that people use different terms to describe the same thing, for instance, vacation and holiday, or PC or computer. And this means that an asset can have a lot of tags added to it, but still people will struggle finding it because they use different terms when they search. So automatic tagging can ensure consistency in which tags are used to describe an asset. But even though we now have new technology available, that does not mean that the specific challenges an organization needs to solve will be solved. Each organization has their unique values, their unique challenges, profile, their specific target demographics, and for an asset to be valuable for an organization, it has to match the uniqueness and the specific needs of that organization. I'll give you an example. So let's have a look at two newspaper stories. The one on the left is from The Sun, and the one on the right is from The Telegraph. Their profiles and target audience groups are quite different, and that will also show in the pictures they choose to publish. So let's see if and how we can help the picture desk editors pick the perfect shot for each article by using AI services. First, we'll start out with a free text search for Boris Johnson. And as you can see, we also get a lot of people we also get other people, and we get a car in the search results. And that's just because Boris Johnson is mentioned in the text. For a newspaper, this would return several thousands of hits, even if you only focused on the last few days. Using face recognition, we have now narrowed this down to pictures that have been identified as actually having Boris in the frame, but there's still a lot of pictures, probably still thousands. So how do we quickly pick an image for our story? Using image analysis, we can start looking for certain characteristics in an image. We can look for emotions like shouting or smiling, or we can look for pictures where there are other people together with Boris in the frame. And this will help us narrow down the selection even more, but still we'll have a large amount of files that we need to go through to find the right image that suits our story and our newspaper profile. So what this means is that even though we have new AI services available for digital asset management, just using them in a generic manner or kind of out of the box, that doesn't necessarily mean that we solve the specific challenges of an organization. To do that, you need to build models that are tailored to your needs, where you define the specific analysis criteria that you are looking for, and then you train the machine to look for these. So in our Boris example, we could, for instance, rate all incoming images by how likely they are to fit our newspaper profile and the story. And this data could be used to favor certain images in search results, and even they could give us recommendations on which images we should use. So now we can talk about value creation with using AI. So this means that even though new AI technologies are available, you have to first define what challenges you want to solve and what you want to achieve by using that technology. And you have to ask the question, why?
Thanks, Janniche. This is definitely a perfect example and an extraordinary example how AI needed to go through several rounds in order to really solve the underlying problem. Products in history has always started and created by answering a certain problem. For example, when the temperatures were rising and people needed their food to prevent their food from getting spoiled, then the refrigerator was created. As more and more women were going to work and needed to still serve warm foods, the microwave was created. And as companies grow and getting more customers that need to understand what products they use and where they are at their cycle, how do they renew and what sun, then the CRM was created. Understanding our customers' motivation will enable us to answer the what and how, but very often we forget and undersee the why question. Technology that is there to last is the one that addresses our underlying problem. It's those creators, organizations, and scientists that really addresses the why, that makes a remark in society and has an innovation that lasts. So ask yourself, do you know what your target audience cares most about? What keeps them up at night? What are you solving? I'm so lucky that I get to work with the whole customer experience every day, from when the customer signs up from our product to when they have their biggest success in their roles or when they're stuck or frustrated with a certain role. There was an occasion when a customer approached me and asked, do you offer AI? And a lot of salespeople or product managers might just get super excited and wanting to show the latest feature, but how about turn the question back? Why? Why AI? What are you really trying to solve? Is machine learning the right solution for your problem? Without a purpose, innovation becomes just a fad. If you're not solving the real problem, it can end up as, for example, the Fetch app. I don't know if you remember it. It was an app that you can take a photo of your dog and it will identify what type of dog it is and it will give you tips about its temper and how to train it. But guess what? It was often used for the photos of their owners or maybe the latest photo of a president. So having a good laugh of which dog do they resonate most with. And guess what? It also died away. Without a purpose, innovation becomes just a fad. If you're not solving the real problem, it can really just disappear. Who is the anonymous user that you're creating a tool for? Marry your clients, they say. And key for successful AI is really as good as we make it. AI is a pile of human decisions. And I'll give you a moment to read that. Stir the pile until you find the right answer. How do you stir the pile so that it solves the real problem? First, we need a diverse group of people, because those are the ones that take the decisions, those are the ones that stir the pile. So I would like us to take a pause here and take a moment to thank all the organizers that we are so happy of being here. And thank you so much for facilitating that conference, because we need more women and men. We need people from different backgrounds and experience and age in order to really create valuable AI services. Secondly, you need to know your customer to steer the pile correctly in the right direction. AI, as good as we make it, and the more it addresses the inner issues, the better it is at solving the problem. So let's look at this obvious mismatch. We have a user. The user is a museum that they have digitalized their collections, and now they want to make them more searchable. So they scan the photos and describe them with the name of the piece of art. And they expected the AI to make those photos more searchable. But they didn't realize it was a modern art. So what the results were just colors, whereas the user wanted to know interpretation and something more valuable. But we believe this is possible because I often hear quotes from customers that I would like to share with you that where AI is really a perfect match. For example, tagging of images is time-consuming. As Janniche said earlier, image recognition and auto-tagging can really make a difference for those working with large collections. It can really do it quicker than a human being. Secondly, we hear also, I work with QR codes and number plates. This is something where AI can outdo human beings. Imagine you have a parcel that has a QR code in it. It is not searchable in any way, it's just a photo. But if AI can search that information behind the QR code, make it into a text, the user will be able to easily discover that photo. Another great example that I often hear is that identifying people is not optimal. Even though AI might not be yet as great in totally recognizing human beings, it is definitely much, much faster. So people can very easily just, for example, let's say HR department, being able to tag and learn the algorithm, train them on their employees' faces, so that they can be able to purge data as, for example, when an employee leaves the company. Last but not least, are my files being tampered with? Another amazing, amazing example of how AI is even better than human beings, because AI can track back and see if a photo has been tampered with in terms of edited, photoshopped, cropped, or manipulated in any way, so that you know you work with the true source of the photo. In some cases, AI can really outdo human beings and be a game changer. So for example, I want to take you through a story of a retailer that I'm not allowed to mention the name of, but they are a clothing brand and they have loads of images. Every season, they create around 1 million files and they have 5 seasons a year. So you can imagine the large collections that they work with. Product managers organize collections based on stock keeping units or campaigns, but the users, as for example in marketing, want to be able to search on feelings and colors. AI gives the value of describing the images with colors, forms, feelings, and even being able to smartly crop an image so that you can have the garment in focus, so that the marketing team can straight away use that for their web shop. Auto-tagging of large collections gives speed to market, and speed to market is what's key for retailers like this one. One of the most inspiring cases are when you can empower innovation that improves the well-being of those around us, empower the innovation of our society. And those needs for optimization and automation are enormous, and we need to do this together, scientists, companies, and institutions. Let me take you through a couple of examples of cognitive computing in crime investigation. One of the most common cases is video redaction. As for example, in the UK, where there's cameras in every street, police gathered hours of recordings of CCTV and body-worn cameras. Being able to identify a unique face and assign an ID to it makes it easy for an investigator to be able to see where exactly and the video, that image appears, so that person appears. Secondly, Janniche spoke a little bit about language services. And language services can make a difference for people working with loads of video content, and especially the one that is on a language that they cannot interpret. Police forces would use weeks of important crime investigation to be able to find authorized translators, to interpret the content, and at the end, the video they're looking at, it might not be relevant to their case at all. Imagine the difference that language services that can live translate a video would make for those police forces in their speed of work. We have a European municipality that opened up for the public to submit evidence straight away from their mobile phones or their computers on a public portal. It was during one of their summits that led to a lot of terror attacks and a lot of disruptions in the city. Being able to gather all the evidence that was uploaded from the public and being able to see where in the metadata this photo has been taken from, they were able to place that evidence on a map. So they know where the disruptions exactly are happening and being able to dedicate their resources on that. But very often, as we open up for the public, people try to sabotage the police work. Terrorists try to stop and slow down their work. So in those cases, we saw a lot of videos of pornography being uploaded to the public sites. That was slowing down the servers, that was slowing down on the investigators' work, they're having to delete that. With image recognition, we're able to identify what is real evidence and what is just pornography or other content that is relevant, being able to automatically purge that so that the police can focus on the important work. Thanks to technology like this one, we're able to see over 12,000 police officers reduce their time working with photos to just a couple of minutes. And as a result of that, identify 65% more criminals. It's rewarding to see results like that. Cases like this inspire us that AI, trained the right way and solving the right question, can create great value. Those are the joys of AI. Thank you.
Thank you.